Hi, welcome. It's time for part 3 of today's campaign update. This is the state of the world. And I just want to say that, as far as the world goes, I guess right now it seems that the Middle East is still high on world events at the moment, and then Trump with his declaration of enduring peace and prosperity. The Trump peace agreement. I guess, it seems that okay, so the document that was signed was really more about the people who signed it than it is about bringing real peace. And the people who signed it were Donald Trump, the president of Egypt, the emir of Qatar, and the president of Turkey. It is not signed by a Palestinian. It's not signed by a Gazan. They seem to also talk a lot. Seems like Gaza is different from Palestine. I don't know. And then and it's not signed by Israel. So how can we agree to a peace when the people involved didn't sign it? So this is not really a peace agreement. And France and Italy were there too. So I don't really understand what we just watched. It's a bit confusing to me. But I think what's really clear is, so first off, in Trump's 20-point plan for Gaza and Gazans and Israel and all of that, and to mediate peace between everybody, was there's going to be a new official organization running Gaza, and he's at the head. So now we got him sort of being president of Gaza and president of the United States, and this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. No. You are president of the United States. There is no president of free world, and there is no for the president of the United States to be president of Gaza. Now, if you want to give up your role as president of the United States, then you can be president of Gaza, but not both. No. No. So after doing some research, and this is why I'm putting this out today and not yesterday, is because I needed time to find out what was really going on. And, not only is the document not signed by a Palestinian or an Israeli, it's signed by the countries around it and getting Muslim support and Arab support, but it's not it's just his 20-point plan. It's all separate but together. But the real truth is, he talked about wanting to put a casino in Gaza. And Gaza is prime Mediterranean beachfront. And so fulfilling the Gazan side, or the Hamas side of the 20-point peace plan of Trump, about returning the hostages, it's difficult for them to return hostages because they're under all the rubble that was created by the bombing from Israel. So Israel killed their own hostages by bombing them, and now they're saying, give us back our people, but they're under the rubble. And since they won't let machines in and they won't let other things in, they can't do that. So that's why the hostages are, not being turned over. On the other hand, I just want to make this point too. So for some reason, when we talk about Israeli people that were being held, they're hostages. And when we talk about Palestinians being held, they're either Gazans or they're prisoners, not hostages. None of the people from Palestine that were being held by Israel, none of them were called hostages. Why is that? There's like 1,700 that were Gazans that were not prisoners. I mean, prisoners is also hostages. I mean, why does Israel have so many? Also, so my understanding is that there were like 3 categories from Palestinians. There were 250 that were like real prisoners, death sentence, whatever. Then there were like 2,000 prisoners or hostages, and then there was another 1,700 just citizens that were being held. So that's called hostages. I look it up. I'm not making this up. It's there. I've been releasing it all over my platforms. So have a look, because this is just nuts how things are being reported by the Zionists. It's to make Israel look great, and we're talking about 20 hostages as opposed to 1,700. Plus the 2,000, plus the 250 prisoners. So I'm just exhausted with the lies and the cheating and the manipulation. And this is coming from my own country. It breaks my heart. Breaks my heart to be a part. To know my tax money is going for this. Supreme Court, you have my lawsuit. You can do something. So then, it turns out Donald Trump really wants that beachfront property. That's why he didn't do anything. He didn't try to stop Israel and just let them continue to bomb. It's for personal gain. His son-in-law and daughter were there in Israel organizing all the stuff. It turns out, too, that Netanyahu and Israel, what they really wanted was they want to build a canal from a river and a Gulf way that they have that leads to the Red Sea, that eventually leads to the Indian Ocean and then the Pacific Ocean, and all the trade that opens up for that region, for the Mediterranean. And the reason why all this is happening is because 2-3 years ago there was a boat that blocked up the Suez Canal for a while. And so, they decided, well, maybe it's time to build this other canal. And then they can also make profit, right? So Netanyahu has his own business organizations, and so I'm sure they've now probably created a company together that's going to be doing all the building there. So President Trump is using his position as president for personal gain while in office. This is unacceptable. I don't know what it's called, but it's unacceptable. Then at the same time, he's sending money down to Argentina, 20 billion of your tax money and mine, which will probably eventually make its way to pay for his new casino. So this is how it works, folks, and this is what we're watching unfold. He does not deserve the Peace Prize because it's not about peace, it's about greed. This is unacceptable. He hasn't done anything about the getting our government back running. In fact, he's encouraging it to stay not running. So he's happy that the airports are closing down because they don't have control tower people. He said that we have to find money for the military, but not if you send 20 billion to Argentina. I just, my president is doing terrible things in my name. And I wanted to believe he was a good guy for a long time, that he was working on exposing the corruption. But it does seem now that I was wrong and that he's part of the corruption. He also knows that there's corruption in the election process, but yet, because nothing has changed from the 2020 election to the last election in 24, so nothing changed. So if there was corruption in 2020, there was corruption in 2024. So, yeah, folks, we got problems. Is this who the USA is? Are we really just colonialists out for greed and power? Is that really what it is? Oh. So the U.S. is again center stage, but for the wrong reasons, for helping the President of the United States fill his pockets more. This is unacceptable. It's not acceptable. And he works with the concept of, which is a very Christian concept, do first and ask for forgiveness later. He's betting that nobody's going to do anything and that we're just going to sit and watch him get richer and steal things. Because that's what has been happening, especially in that region. And now with the signing of this document with the neighboring countries, it means that they're accepting the fact that what was once Palestine, which was that whole piece of land now called Israel, not only in the thievery started in 1947, and it just has continued, and now Palestine in that region is so tiny, it's absurd how little is left. And the world is just watching and letting it happen. The countries around it are watching and letting it happen. And this is just unreal. You know, we didn't spend the last 60 years saying how great it was that the U.S. took over Native American land or indigenous people's lands and then kicked them off, you know. These people, the indigenous people, helped the original, the Spanish and the Portuguese when they came over. And then later the British too and the French. They helped them to settle on the land. They shared it. And then all the countries just kept kicking them out. And it's not acceptable. You have to put your foot down. So, yeah, we gotta stop the imperialism and the colonialism. So on Monday, I recognized Indigenous Peoples Day. I did not recognize Columbus Day. We all have a right to be here, and it's nice that the natives were so helpful. So let's appreciate their work. Let's appreciate their contribution. We don't need a Columbus Day. We need an Indigenous Peoples Day. And we need to respect Indigenous people everywhere. I'm just in shock. Okay. So, so what's coming is greed. I'm sure, like I said, Trump and Netanyahu probably have made a corporation together. That's why Trump's daughter and husband was there to set that organization up. And now they're just going to be making money off of our tax money. Yep. So, okay. I am Susan Maud Buchser-Lochocki, a presidential candidate from the 2024 presidential election. Supreme Court, you know what you need to do so that we can stop this disaster from happening. And it is not acceptable. We are a country of integrity. We do not do business like this. This is not acceptable. And my website is susan4usa.com. That's Susan the number 4usa.com. Thanks for stopping by. This is the end of my campaign update for today. This is the end of part 3, State of the World. Bye for now.